Let's fight. Let's fight. A very good evening to each and every one of you, wherever in the world you're joining us from. Home here in Guyana, in the Caribbean, or internationally in the diaspora, Region 11. Welcome in the ring. And we are a couple minutes early. But as we always say, we'd rather be early than be late where it comes to giving you guys the right, credible, and valid information that you can trust and you can depend on. Good to see each and every one of you guys as you come on. We invite you to share the live stream. You have been blowing our minds with all of the shares, with all of the support in general that you've been giving our program, and we are tremendously happy about that, folks. You know, when we come on and you guys gather here, you get these installed folks very worried. We get them very worried, and they have to write a lot of reports to their seniors about what is happening. And then those at the top got to do a lot of reading, how that we talk and so on. They got transcripts and so on, you know. They have transcripts that they are they're submitting to their superiors there, the installed bunch, the installation. And so we want to give them a lot of stuff to write down and to have to type, and a lot of stuff to read. So we're happy to have you guys on with us. Of course, we're a couple minutes early, we know, but we'd rather be early than late. And we're early enough to give a shout out to Sandra Britton, who's joining us on YouTube, Lita Basdio and Alia Waldron, one of our favorites. Yes. I see Andre's comment asking me there, where is Andre? I'm trying to find out myself. Where is Andre? That is the question of the night. Good to have Lynette Fraser in the house, all the way from the UK. Good to have Lynette and Elaine Charles and Lily McGarrell. I see the Youths for Change, Alliance for Change Youth Arm joining us as well. Bernadette and Sandra Facey. Simone Kennedy, how are you doing there, Simone? And Sharion Beard and Joyce Prince Kingston, Mrs. Kingston, Lily McGarrell, and is it Vibert or Vibrith? That went by so fast. Pauline Chambers, Ernest Elliott, Delroy Alexander joining us from YouTube. We love to see our supporters and our viewers join us from YouTube and Twitter. Marcia Griffith, good to see you. Berkeley Johnson, good to see you, Berkeley. Share the live stream. Barbara Bond and Abigail Otheline, good to see you there as well. Orlando Jardine. I'm taking the register, folks. Leonette, Cook Anthony and Gavin Holder, Claire Ashford, taking the register, present. Pamela Viola Canzias, present. Ernest Elliott, present. Gavin Holder, present. Tina Chung is in the HISA. Tina Chung, present. And all the other Chungs. Carol Noble, present. Gavin Holder, present. Myrna Thompson. Oh, my Lord. Teacher going to spend the whole period taking this register. Tina, how you take the register there? Good to have you guys here with us. Each and every one of you guys, we're ready to go. As we say, you know, those guys who come on early, we give you guys a little something. Good to see you, Jean Bond from Lagrange. Good to see you, Jean, and Roxy Daly, Austin, and Shelley Ritter, Ted Duncan, and Onessa Ward Dean, Deborah Simon, Onessa Ward Dean again, yeah, and Joyce Bruce. Is it Errol Squires, Paul, Candace Narayan, up in the house? Good to see you, Candace. Hold on the fort. Who we can't fight here, you fight where you are. Mark Aaron, Audrey Cumberbatch joining us from YouTube. It's almost slipping me. It's right there. Slipping me. Audrey Cumberbatch, present. Good. I hope you all get out your notebooks and you all head up. You got to come to class prepared. Get out your notebooks and head up, folks. All right. I want to give those of you who joined us early a little something, just because you joined us early. So you all think, you know, I've been seeing lots of photographs showing up, showing how Georgetown, that was really, really spick and span under the new AFC for 5 years, is now returning to the garbage city, because that's how you know the PPP come back. It's returning to the garbage city. So, but what I want to show you now is that not only Georgetown, you got filthy, dirty, stinking people. At Albion, you have the same set of people operating. So I wanted you to take a look at this, and then we're gonna have some commentary on the other side.
Hey guys, good morning. If you guys can recall, sometime last, no, so early in the week, I made a video about the dumping situation here at Albion, on the Albion Estate Road. And I want to say that Minister had intervened, and I wanted to give you guys an update that the members of the public, please cooperate with the members of this community and do not bring your garbage and dump it here afterwards. As you can see, the minister has intervened, and we presently have a HIMAC, and they are getting rid of the garbage for us. So, Honorable Minister, thank you for your intervention. Yes, they're cleaning the garbage up. And I'm asking that the members of the public please respect our environment. Do not bring your garbage and dump it here again, because remember, this is not your community, and I'm sure that you would not like if somebody does this in your community. As you can see, something is being done to help the situation. I would like to once again shout out Minister Dharmlal for his intervention. He had promised.
Yep. So guys, that is Narissa Dre Jordan from Region 6, Narissa Dre Jordan. And we featured her, a commentary she had on her Facebook page a couple months ago. And here she is again making a social media post. And I want to commend her first. Let me start there. I want to commend Narissa Dre Jordan for being an active citizen. Some of us are very laid back wherever we live, and you know, we don't care if it's night or day, as long as the thing don't come on we doorstep, we don't concern. And here's a kind of a good citizen highlighting what is happening in her neighborhood. And she did say in that insert there that the minister would have intervened. But I find it quite strange that just today I saw some photographs of garbage pile up in Georgetown, garbage pile up in Georgetown. And I wonder if, you know, the minister or the other folks there don't see, right? Or is it that we have to come to a level where citizens got to make a little post and maybe tag a minister, and that is how we get action on these issues? So I hope, folks, if your road got potholes like the one we featured last evening in Moruca, where the regional vice chair fell off her motorbike because the motorbike fell into a pothole and injured herself. I hope that you take a video and you tag a minister. I hope that if you're in some part of the city and you see garbage pile up, that you take a little video and tag the minister, because apparently that is how they respond. I saw a lot of garbage in, for instance, Monrepo Market just yesterday, or rather just this morning, at the back of the market, pile up a lot of garbage. I hope somebody take a picture and tag the minister, right? So I'm looking at Albion there and all that garbage, and I want to make some correlation to what has been said about Georgetown Main City Council, right? I wonder if the municipality there in Albion is functioning, because clearly they ain't seeing all of this garbage pile up there. I wonder if the municipality is functioning, whether it gets the assistance of the government, installed as they are, whether they're getting the assistance of the government. I wonder about that. Good. I wonder about that. So maybe you gotta, you know, take a video, tag a minister, and you get your problems looked at. And again, don't get me wrong, I commend this young lady, Narissa Dre Jordan, for what she has done here in terms of being so vigilant in her community, right? But people are not only dirty in Georgetown. Apparently, Albion got some dirty, stinking people too, right? And that admonition should go for all people. Take care of where you live. Take care of where you live. But if you want quick results, take a quick, do a social media post, a live video, and tag the minister. You're going to get some responses there, folks. And as you join, folks, I want you guys to share the live stream as we get into our program proper this evening. Good to have so many of you with us again, and I am ready to go if you guys are ready to go with the hot topics, folks. Good to have each and every one of you, whether you're joining us on Twitter, you're joining us on Facebook. Yes, y'all fast. I know y'all fast. I asking God to help me with y'all. Whole set of fast people. Those of you joining us on, on YouTube as well, welcome in the ring to all of you guys. And those of you joining us here at home in Guyana, in the region, or internationally, welcome to each and every one of you. Let me walk you through some of the hot topics for the day that should be interesting you and receiving your attention. Folks, as you know, every day in the country is puckatory. Puckatory, puckatory, puckatory. And we turn to the COVID front. And you'll understand why you have a no confidence motion that is being brought against Frank Anthony. You'll understand why we have a no confidence motion that is being brought. Folks, this man got the nerve, he got the gall, he got the gumption, he got the belly to be telling us that they have now gone past Al Maktoum, because Al Maktoum has been proven unreliable. Remember, we had questions about Sputnik V? Now these crosses, these jagabats are telling us, that they are going to the manufacturer of the Sputnik V. Why did they go to the manufacturer all of the time? Huh? Now they done pay Al Maktoum all of this money. Twice the market value for the drugs. So Maktoum has made $600+ million profit off of us. And this government got the nerve, the gumption, the belly, and the guts, starting from the top with the catfish one, to tell us that they're now going to the manufacturer. So they didn't go to the manufacturer all the time. Now that Al Maktoum, like them, did not deliver on his promises, peoples, they are now going to the manufacturer. You all understand why we are bringing a no confidence motion against the installed Frank Anthony. He's incompetent. In any other country, a minister who has performed this badly and this early would do the right thing and resign. But no, folks. You remember last night we spoke about that exemption clause Guyanese got? What's the exemption clause? This is Guyana. Anything goes. This is Guyana. And so Frank got the nerve and the temerity to tell us they are now going to source the second dose of Sputnik from the manufacturer. Because you know why? Al Maktoum is a scamp. And he ain't turn up with the second dose. And he not telling them when the second dose coming. Y'all remember just last night, the former health minister, now health advisor and consultant, Leslie Spy Equipment Ramsamy, begging people to take the Moderna. He said they are about to spoil, they are about to expire. Come and put it in your veins quick. Well, that is what is happening here. The only thing is they can't get the drugs. You see, when you do business, folks, with all of these shady people, this is what happens. This is precisely what happens and what we have been warning the Guyanese people about, these jagabats. Precisely why. And to show you again where that exemption clause applies, folks, I am almost certain some part of this country, you have been sitting in traffic, waiting patiently, being a good driver, and then sirens come. And everybody got to move out the way. I can't remember pre-August 2020 diplomatic vehicles having outriders and security personnel and flashing lights and siren. I can't remember that. I may have missed something because I was a little busy. I may have missed it. So you guys can remind me. Claudine, Dukwa, and Audrey Brown, and Chevron Sears, Antonio George, you all can remind me. Ingram Campbell, if we used to have all of these flashing lights and sirens and noise all over the place, suddenly diplomatic vehicles got siren and outriders. Suddenly, ministers got flashing lights and sirens. It used to be the prime minister, the president, minister of home affairs with sirens. Now it's the installed minister, whether you're senior or junior, the children, the sweet man, Andre, everybody. Everybody got sirens flashing and moving through. And of course, folks, us, the lesser mortals, we got to move out of the way when we see them coming. We got to clear the way, the bamboo say. Who get knocked down, I don't care. That is how we operating. And I said, Noel, isn't that so? Sirens everywhere. You going kitty cat trying to get home or get to work, and suddenly you got to pull over because it's some unknown, unmarked vehicle coming through. Now it's all the diplomats with flashing lights and sirens. For what? For what? You can't wait patiently like anybody else and get around? Come on, folks. Come on, folks. Stop this nonsense and share the live stream. Folks, I was telling you all that somebody told me recently, he said, he watching no other newscast. He comes to watch my newscast. Can you all imagine my brother Gordon Mosley talking about the government? Oh, and the president did X, Y, Z, and then he broke with these crasses. Folks, we do things here in our own way, right? We are our own standard. And we do things here our own way. Thanks for sharing the live stream. Shell, Labumba, and Orwin Don, Cook, and Claudine, LaRose, Dukwa, and Marsha Glasgow, and Samantha Jills, and Audrey Brown. All of you share the live stream, folks. So privileged to have all of you here. Trevor Morris, good to have you as well. Watching these jagabats and all these sirens and so on. They, the children, the nanny, the maid, everybody got siren. The sweet man, everybody got siren. Right? Just now, Narissa will have sirens too in Region 6 there in Albion, going to check out the garbage. You're going to know Narissa coming through sirens. Right? And Darmlal, I want you to know, I saw what you did there. You respond very promptly to the calls of the Rissa. You move out from the hinterland. You got now Albion. You move out from the hinterland. Right? So we got Andre, and then Narissa looks like perhaps Andrea. I saw what you did there, Darmlal. I saw what you did there. More crosses. More crosses. More crosses, folks. More crosses. So Lowenfield and having it. Lowenfield and having it. Y'all think Lowenfield going quietly? Think again. Lowenfield is not going quietly, folks. He's not. So they move a motion against Lowenfield, Myers, Mingo of perhaps no confidence. And the same people who move the motion want to come and judge the motion, debate the motion and judge the motion and pass the motion. Because that is how the Jacobats operate. Well, Lowenfield carrying them to court. Lowenfield taking them to court as is his constitutional rights. And we got to respect that. We got to respect that. Lowenfield taking them to court. He ain't having it. He is not having it. So they want to bring a no confidence motion to get Lowenfield fired. Lowenfield said, well, let's see what the Chief Justice and the court system, the judicial system, got to say about that. And while we're talking about no confidence motions of sorts, ladies and gentlemen, while we're talking about no confidence motions of sorts, there was a no confidence motion that is being pondered against the leader of the opposition. No way in the world, people. No way in the world does a government bring a no confidence motion against the opposition, but the PPP upside down. with the puppet presidency, the puppet presidency and the catfish installed head of state. They're upside down. So they're now going to bring a no confidence motion, according to them. And here is what the fair unbiased speaker said quite recently. The fair unbiased speaker. Here's what he said recently. He will decide next week if Harman's no confidence motions proper qualify. He will decide next week. He is deciding about the PPP motion, right? That all of the legal minds say is absurd, is an absurdity. No government brings a no confidence motion against an opposition. Why? Because the opposition does not control the government coffers. The opposition are not on trial every day implementing policies for the people. So on what basis are you bringing a no confidence motion? It is madness. It is madness. Is the thing taking them? So I don't know, like instead of being injected with the Sputnik V, it's salt water or something that going to the head. It's madness. So the independent, unbiased speaker, Mansour Nadir, who, but for a couple of days ago, was a sales attendant at a store in Robb Street. He said he's going to see if the leader of the opposition motion, the Honorable Joseph Harman, qualifies, properly qualifies. Yeah, see crosses here? These are crosses. Folks, more signs of the times, chilling signs of the times. Last evening, ladies and gentlemen, last evening, Vilma Adams and Samantha Giltz, Michelle and Colleen Isaacs, Lily McGarrell, Kim King, Alia Waldron, all of you guys. Last evening we spoke about this beast of a policeman who brutally beat his common law wife, his reputed wife, brutally. Well, they have apprehended him. As a matter of fact, let me frame that correctly. He turned himself in. He turned himself in. Right? And I chronicled for you last evening through that story out of Kaito News, how she suspected that he was cheating on her. He said he was leaving a party where they were to go to work, and she didn't having it. She called the workplace and found out that he wasn't slated to work. But of course, he could be one of those people who are very, very committed like that to the job. Even when they got to go to work, they're still going in. And because she questioned the veracity of what he was saying, it's like the people, you can't question them. He unplugged on her and beat her savagely till blood was coming out of her eyes, according to the report. He beat her at the party, and he beat her several times on the way home. This beast, well, he has turned himself in. He has turned himself in to the police. Well, I hope they don't spare the rod with him, the legal rod. I hope they don't spare it, people. As we get more information on this story, we are going to keep you guys up to date. Gloria Fraser, yes, I'll keep you up to date. And Ashley, Nikki, Nicole, Brandis, Higgins, we're going to keep you guys up to date. Don't worry, I got y'all. Appreciate the live stream, folks. Thank you. Share the live stream. More crosses. Soon as this government coming, is a darkness and is a madness unleashed in this country. A man was beaten by a gang while protesting his employer. Yeah. People, when you read the news these days, you got to read with your pressure tablet. Right? You got to read it with your Nutrifos close by for steady your nerves. So this man apparently works for a gold miner, and he was owed some money, and so he went protesting by the High Court against his employer. Who tell him to do that? Right? He got no rights. Who told him to do that? Right? A savage beating. A savage beating. So apparently these men related to that policeman. A savage beating, ladies and gentlemen. Yep. So he is now being convalesced, resting and recuperating from his wounds. That is what this country is descending into, you know. And you know what? Police are running in by these men house that beat this fella 2 and 3 o'clock in the morning, in stating that they're police, in producing no warrant for arrest like they're doing in Linden. Right? As a matter of fact, I have seen nothing in the news which suggests that the men who beat this employer, former employer of this gold trader or whatever title he goes by, nothing in the report suggested that the men have been apprehended who beat him. That being said, folks, again, get your pressure tablets close. Get your pressure tablets close. Leg one farmer beaten to death. Nephew held. Folks, this is not natural. This is not natural. And we told you of that story quite recently where the son would have cuffed his mother in the eye and then he killed his brother. Like that, this ain't natural. Right? And it's over a frivolous issue. A very frivolous issue. Very frivolous issue, folks. This man has now lost his life in leg one. So they're not only planting rice and so on in leg one. Right? They are doing other things. The nephew kills the uncle. That is natural. That's a force. That is a force. Right? And government can't help that, you know. This country needs prayers. Remember I told you all, Roosevelt Skerritt declared a week of prayers recently in Montserrat. A week of prayers. That's what we need here. Folks, as you come on, we invite you guys to share the live stream. Our guests are going to be with us shortly. Khemraj Ramjattan and Amanza Walton-Desir, members of parliament. And we're going to be examining some of these very issues. Confusion powder. Things are natural in this country. Things not natural. Well, the qualified and the bona fide journalists are still complaining. It's puckatory. You got it right. Puckatory. They are still complaining. They said they have these no confidence motions against this installed Minister of Home Affairs, Robeson Ben, and against the installed Minister of Health, Frank Anthony. And they're facing the media. And so the critics say that Ben and Anthony not meeting with professional journalists, no pun intended here. No pun intended. That's what the people say. They are not meeting with professional journalists so that the right questions can be posed to them. They are hoping that they will escape the no confidence motion. But when you see what is happening with crime in this country, crime following COVID is running away from the government. The no confidence motion coming. So whether they want to face the journalists and ask the journalists questions or not, whether in parliament or out of parliament, the no confidence motions are coming. Good to see Mr. Yanks joining us on YouTube. Yvonne McLean, Claudette Clark, Colin Isaacs again, Freddie Jackson. The no confidence motions are coming, folks. They can't run from it. Try as they may, we're not going to allow them to run from the no confidence motions. So guys, I want you to share the live stream. Our guests are going to be with us momentarily. Nicole Brandis, how are you doing where you are? How are you all dealing with these jagabats? Shahid, man, y'all come with some proper profiles, man, and stop hiding behind fake profiles and so on. Run here, Caesar, good to see you there. Vanessa Lewis, giving some of you a shout out. We all think about these installed people. No confidence motion or no confidence motion. Asani Bowman, good to see you there, Asani. Cecilia Abrams, good to see you there. Trenton Marks, good to see you as well. How y'all doing under these jagabats? Brian Leslie, good to see you there as well. Wendy Caesar, Margaret Duncan Andrews, this is family. Folks, you got to share the live stream. We invite each and every one of you to give us a share. We say you got to pay the price of admission. Don't be like these jagabats. Because we got to move on no confidence motion against them shortly. Right? The speaker not looking at this motion as brought by the government. Never before in the history of motions, a motion being brought against the opposition because they're trying to deflect attention from the piss poor work that Frank Anthony has done. Right? Since I was a little boy, I hear about Frank Anthony and Robeson. I in the parliament contending against them. Some people want state funeral, you know. Bibi Shadi, they're about long. Some people want a state funeral. I know how to put it. How else I am going to tell you that these guys still about? Right? Look at Ben. Look at that and then they want some self-care. Take some time off for yourself. Everybody, state funeral, some people want. And so these no confidence motion are coming. Sputnik V. He ain't go to the manufacturer. Now this thief and the scamp that they went to can't find the Sputnik V. So now they got to go to the manufacturer. Now they have to go to the manufacturer. And folks, this is what we are flashing back to this Friday evening. These no confidence motions that were tabled quite recently. Here is where we're going to have our discussion this evening on the no confidence motions that were filed recently in the National Assembly. And that will be central to my discussion with my guest this evening. I see I have Mr. Ramjattan with me, and I'm getting ready to bring him on. And Amanza Walton-Desir is going to join us. And I know Khemraj going to talk the things because he don't pull punches. See, I better put in your mouth guard. Right? And you all have better write properly. The people who at Freedom House monitoring social media programs, you better write properly. You all better write properly. Because things will be said that need to be said. And those of you who are joining us, again, we invite you guys as we flash back to these motions that were tabled quite recently. Quite recently. Gloria Fraser, I've invited you to share the live stream. Trenton Marks, invite you to share the live stream as well. Shelley Lewis, I invite you to share the live stream as well. And Lindsay Lohan, oh my Lord, all these fancy names. Hollis, Lindsay got to be a superstar. Hollis London and Patricia Ashanti. Good evening to each and every one of you. Share the live stream. Patricia and Madrumutu Long, good to see you as well. I think Khemraj is ready and I'm ready to go as well. Once he is set, we are going to invite the Member of Parliament. Let me bring him on.
I'm set.
Great, sir. A very good evening to you.
Thanks very much, and I'm glad to be here again. I was watching the cricket there, West Indies not doing so well, but I hope they perform a little better. Yeah.
Well, I know you're in a better place because this is a pressure pot too. The fields the West Indies on might be a pressure pot by itself. It's more pressure.
Yeah, well, I'm glad to be here, as I said, and we have to, as we are doing at a parliamentary level, putting pressure, as is expected of parliamentary oppositions, and we are going to talk about the things that you would want me to talk about. I suspect the motions and so on.
Excellent.
So I am here to go. to bob and
Good.
weave, but also to give a knockout punch.
Excellent. Let's invite our other colleague, Amanza Walton-Desir, the Honorable Member of Parliament. Amanza, very good evening. Let's fight!
Let's fight, Sharon.
Let's fight.
Good night, Khemraj. How you doing?
I'm doing all right. I'm doing all right. Thanks very
Again,
much.
welcome in the ring for those folks who are now joining us. Share the live stream. We have with us this evening the Honorable Khemraj Ramjattan, Member of Parliament, leader of the Alliance for Change, and we have with us also the Honorable Amanza Walton-Desir, Member of Parliament, and they both are attorneys at law. So I'm on good grounds this evening with slander and libel. They're going to guide us and position us well. Folks, I was shocked this evening. It wasn't so long ago we have been dealing with this whole issue of the PPP and the Sputnik V scandal. Wasn't so long ago. And I am quite surprised that even as we were coming on this evening, we saw this headline bursting out there that the government is now going to the source, the manufacturers of the Sputnik V, to purchase the Sputnik V because like Maktuman answering their calls. Khemraj, let's start with you.
Well, look, this thing is an extraordinarily huge debacle by the PPP government. I'm sorry for my friend Frank Anthony, but we have to be very brutally frank with Frank. This thing has underlying suspicions that are tremendous. And that Maktoum al-Maktoum guy, the sheikh, that has created this Sheikh Gate, you know, like Watergate and whatever else. This Sheikh Gate has thrown this whole health sector in relation to the vaccine and the Sputnik into one big disarray. And we are not getting answers to it. They're now going to the manufacturing, wheresoever that is, for purposes of trying to, get some credibility and reliability as to what was sold to them. But as I have said earlier, this thing got corruption. Whosoever made the arrangements to buy via the sheikh had huge monies to make. And that is what this thing is all about. You do not go to the World Health Organization. You do not go to other organizations to see how you can get it at the cheapest prices. You go to a sheikh, and then you do not go to the manufacturer. You go to a third man. Whenever you go to a third man, all the literature on corruption says, rule of thumb, they got corruption there. Big time corruption. And in this case, it's $600 million. That is almost $3 million US. So you'll have corruption being done and beneficiaries being here in Guyana. You'll have the sheikh benefiting and probably the Russian, whosoever that Russian man is, whether he is a Russian or the Norwegian or whosoever he is, Mortensen, and that kind of arrangement. So this thing stink to high heavens. And I believe that is where we would have to put this thing. And there should be also what is called investigations by the Auditor General as to what is going to happen here. And I'm certain that the new public accounts chairperson is going to ask for an immediate inquiry into this setup here. It is scandalous, big time scandalous. And we are going to pay dearly for it, as we have already done, $600 million Ghana dollars more. But we are going to pay dearly in the sense that all the implications it has, that we simply cannot govern properly. And this thing is going to go pretty bad. And I'm glad that the shadow minister has proposed this notice of motion in relation to the Minister of Health, a no confidence motion. I mean, is a good friend of mine, but the trouble is that these things that have been occurring in the health sector, and of course, again, another big aspect of it that has me very worried is the opening up of the country.
Yep. And we're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about that. Yep.
What's happening? And you still open the country from 11 o'clock or 10:30 in the night to 4 in the morning. A lot of hours, are taken up with so many people dealing with each other, meeting, and we know how Guyanese are. That should be far more, elongated, the periods of curfew. But they don't like curfew. They want their friends and family to enjoy whatever
Money got to
bar.
make.
Yeah. So it is important that we do a scrutiny of the health sector by that cluster that we have, gotten as part of our strategy in dealing in the opposition, in opposition against the government. And I
Yeah.
think that it is going to ensure a lot of scrutiny there in that debate.
MP Walton-Desir, on this Sputnik issue, we saw them rode back to Russia asking them to verify that these vaccines were authentic. This fellow who got no training in vaccines, no training in health, who once headed an oil company that went bankrupt, wrote to us, never conforming yes or no, but they took that as gospel and exactly what we were saying. And this is only one of the reasons we are saying Frank must have this no confidence motion moved against him. Amanza.
Well, Sharon, look, the whole Sputnik issue really does bear out what we've been saying from day one, that there has been massive corruption. And the attempts by the government, the installed government to cover it up is now falling apart. Because as you say, they are now going to the source. After Guyanese would have spent an excess of $600 million to procure vaccines. And to add insult to injury, we do not even know when Guyanese who are waiting on the second dose will get that second dose. And that is what happens when you procure medication and vaccines through third parties. It is completely inexcusable. And a lot of people had a lot of nonsense to talk when we as the opposition broke this story, as if we were supposed to just disregard the fact that you did not go directly to the source. When you procure vaccines from the source, there are particular contract and contract terms that apply. Things to do with things like recall, things to do with things like refunds and
Liability.
if a particular batch is recalled, who has the liability? Issues of insurance. We are not satisfied, and there's no information provided to us. We asked for it, that this is the case with Guyana. And then to add, you did have fake Sputnik vaccines on the market.
That's correct.
And so how are we to disregard all of this? And so now you see they are going to the source. And what is interesting is that our president at the CARICOM meeting, made some some statements that I'm personally unhappy with. And a point to note that this justification of this letter that they produced to us Guyanese as verifying the authenticity was not a point of reference at any time. And so it clearly demonstrates that they believe that they can fool the Guyanese people and get away with it. And they know they can't do certain things on the international scene. And so it is just a colossal national embarrassment. But outside of an embarrassment, it has placed the health of Guyanese in jeopardy. Hence the no confidence motion. As nice a guy as Frank might be, he has not handled this.
Yeah, and I want to make this point. Yeah.
Go ahead, Khemraj.
And I want to make this point because I think we ought to. I am having my hand held because my computer is giving me some trouble. So if you see I'm all over the place, it's all right. Look, it is important to understand that people are criticizing us, and some very intelligent people too are saying that, but you're going to lose the no confidence motion. I want to say that not because we're going to lose it, it gives us an opportunity to scrutinize the health sector.
Yeah.
Because, and you know, I was one of those who indicated that this speaker is going to do a fantastic job. I have to review that, honestly. And I have already
Absolutely.
told him, you know, because I'm a very good friend of his too. We struggled it a long, long time ago in Parliament when he was a parliamentarian. And I find now that a lot of the motions that we are bringing, either on that discretionary disqualification rule, he is excluding our motions,
Yeah.
or on the sub judice rule. And also when it is a matter of national urgent public importance, he uses a definition of urgent to exclude the thing, like the flooding motion.
Yeah.
Now, how do we deal with a speaker that is like that? Why not then, because it is be hard put for him to disallow a no confidence motion. And in that motion, we are going to deal with the health sector.
Yeah.
So a lot of people must understand our motivation in bringing a kind of a motion like this, because we want the health sector to be scrutinized and to be criticized, something which a government should also want of its opposition. You don't want us to run in the street and do all kind of stupidness. You want us to be inside of the bloody parliament, talking, scrutinizing, and getting the benefit of parliamentary democracy.
Mm-hmm.
And when you're going to block our motions here, there, and everywhere with all those scurrilous reasons, we are going to then bring motions like these, which are hard put for you to exclude. And then we deal with the issues of health and public security. And so people must understand that we're going to lose it. They got 33 plus the 1 from Schumann. And so they will have their 34. But by the end of the day, so much scrutiny would have been realized that the people out there would recognize us as doing our jobs and not sitting on our backsides in Parliament, just accepting the speaker saying, that is excluded, that is disqualified, that is not urgent, that is not of public importance, like flooding, and so on. So this is an important point I want our listeners to understand.
Yeah, and I'm happy that you raised that point, Khemraj, because it is a criticism that I notice in the public space too, that why it's a waste of time, you know, you're going to lose. It is not a waste of time. The role of the parliamentary opposition is to hold the government accountable in Parliament, using all the tools and devices available to them. And the no confidence motion against the ministers is one such motion. But Sharon, let me make this other point. It is important that people understand that when we speak in the National Assembly, it is recorded in something called the Hansard.
That's right.
The Hansard provides, as it were, a snapshot of the mood of the country about a particular issue. And so it is important that we go down in the annals of the records, exposing the incompetence. That way, 10 years, 15 years from now, nobody will be able to revise history, because what was said is captured in that Hansard report verbatim. And so we need our people to understand that in politics, you have a multiplicity of strategies.
That's right.
One is not necessarily superior to the other, but you must use every strategy available to you. The PPP don't spare no strategy when it comes to destroying and disrupting this country. And so I wish to see amongst our supporters a halting of this criticism that it is a waste of time. It is not a waste of time. By the time we get through with them, you will see that they are the most incompetent set of people to run this country.
And they want to exclude us. Let me just at this point, they want to exclude us. Remember, we had 98 days of prorogation of Parliament.
Yes.
And we had 3 or 4 times when our motions were excluded on very frivolous, scurrilous grounds. You know, so it is important. And the fact now that we have brought these motions, and I noticed that one of them said that they're going to bring a motion against Joe Harmon, means that we are fixing the agenda. It is important. They cannot do anything to the Harmon. They cannot remove him. They cannot, even on grounds of confidence talk. We know that they don't have confidence in any one of us in opposition. So what they're bringing, it's a stupid, stupid motion.
And
You
Khemraj, I
know?
want to talk about that a little later on because it seems as though no other part of the world you've ever seen a government bring a motion against the opposition. I want to talk about that specifically later on, but I want to circle back to what Amanza said earlier on about the relevance of such a motion, whether it is successful or not, because there have been persons out there who are of the opinion we should not even be in Parliament. But it's being in Parliament, we were able to put the questions
That's
to
correct.
them on the record on Sputnik V in the first instance. And that is how we knew, for instance, that Al Maktoum didn't come to discuss the things they told us he came to discuss last November, October, November, but he came to sell drugs. And here's
Absolutely.
where we are in this puckatory now. And we could have only gotten to where we are because of where we were in the National Assembly doing the work of the people or for the people. So that is the
I
point I
want
want to
to,
make there.
yes,
Yep.
that point should be made because look, a lot of people feel that we should be doing other extra parliamentary activities. Now, we have told them that yes, there is a role for that, but that must not exclude parliamentary activities. And this is where I get angry with a number of some of our own supporters who want to exclusively go, I have come out from Parliament. No, there is a role for Parliament that is the biggest when it comes to opposition and exposures and, all of those inside of Parliament. Because we have an obligation to ask questions. We have a right, sorry, and they have an obligation to answer questions. And it was one of those very, very important points and juncture in Parliament when that financial paper 1 and 2 came. And so it is important that we be there. We were not there. What could we have done? And by the way, what would we have been doing otherwise? No, you got to be there. And so it is important that these people also understand. Look, I understand I described it as pathological cynicism in a program with Christopher Ram recently. But people cannot be so much cynical. There is a need for parliamentary democracy to still operate in Guyana because we are going to get all of these things. And also, like via these motions, we're going to get so much more because it is not only the Sputnik we're going to talk about in relation to the health sector. They got shortage of medicines in a big way in New
Yeah.
Amsterdam right
Yeah.
now. They got shortage of medicines in a whole lot of other
Health
places.
centers, health centers
Yeah,
around the
that
country.
is what I'm learning. And so all of that will have to come out. Of course, they will want to go and do rebuttals as they will want to, and they are right, they have a right to, but that's okay. Listen us out in Parliament and also allow us, because that is where we play the cricket. We go back there, we go bowl there, we feel there at a political level. And we must be allowed to do that without the unjustified kind and unsubstantiated kind of criticism and critiquing that we get from these cynics.
Very well. On the other motion against Robeson Ben, the installed minister Robeson, I don't even know where to start there. But let's start perhaps at the PPP's manifesto. They always like to talk about these promises fulfilled. They had promised a crime plan. We are yet to see that. They have been so focused on going after their political foes. They have left their flank wide open to all the criminals and bandits. And we see that in operation every single day. People are robbed, from the most common man in the street to the big business owners like the Matai family. Khemraj, as far as a former public security minister, what are your thoughts on the many
Well,
failings?
their crime plan, they cannot publicize because their crime plan was to buck up the police force and buck up the police service commission. And that is not something that you would want to go and publicize. That is why they can't come up with a crime plan. They do not believe in a regular professional police force. They believe in what is called the thuggish element in the police force as dominating, or extra police methods of, as they did over a period of years in the Troubles with the Roger Khans of the world. And that is what they are. They believe that a true professional police force might very well want to scrutinize them. You might have them investigating the Sputnik, and they don't want that. So you broke it up. And somehow they feel that this police force don't support them. It got a lot of people in there that vote for the new AFC, and so we must give them trouble at an administrative level. And that is what they're doing. So that is why the absence of a crime plan. And that is why when you broke up the police force to the extent of, like what holding elections for the Guyana Police Association, not, dealing professionally with the chairman of the Police Service Commission, literally instructing him who to promote. Never have we heard about that kind of governance. The Police Service Commission was an institution created by our framers of the Constitution to insulate politicization of that very important institution called the Guyana Police Force. That is what it was for. Just like the Public Service Commission, Teacher Service Commission. These are large groupings of professionals who have to have what is called a constitutional entity rather than the government, minister, and so on, dealing with them, promotions, disciplining, removal, at least at that higher level, inspector to assistant commissioner. And what they have done, especially the president calling up Paul Slow. Look, out of the president and Paul Slow, I believe Paul Slow 10 times more than that president. Because up to now, he ain't shown me first degree. Absolutely, he hasn't shown nobody in this country. And a lot of his supporters still believe him. I cannot understand how they can believe him. And as against Paul Slow, the true professional who fought Rohi, I think, is not Rohi, is Khemraj, and stood up steadfast for professionalism and integrity. And look what we have today. They want to broke up the thing if they haven't as yet broke it up. And they're now going and fool people that Paul Slow and Conway were suspended. The suspension of those two people depend on constitutional requirements. You have to have a tribunal and you have to have a judicial service commission that is going to ensure that the tribunal is selected. We don't have a judicial service commission. And these people, they really take their behinds and pass all of us, They're really, really taking, and this arrogance that they're coming forth with, especially Anil Nandalal, that arrogant, that these are suspended. I am hoping that the Police Service Commission is also going to take the matter to court, but not only them, the policemen that were properly promoted, they too must take it up. But the implication is that you would have a tremendously divided, broken police force. And all the things that we did in our last 5 years to professionalize security sector report and all the 101 things that we did, I hear they are not going to implement, or whatever was implemented halfway, they're going to broke it up. That is cause for tremendous concern and worry. It is going to cause people now to take advantage, and the crime situation is going to grow as it has started. And they are wickedly giving wrong figures about the crime situation. If you got crime reduced by 26% this year as against last year, what you want with security service at the regional level? Yeah. You're doing well with what you got.
Regional security teams. Yeah.
Yes, this regional security team and so on. So it is important we make sure that the public understand how they are lying about all these things and how the crime is going to come back in a real big way. Even the businessmen now, I understand, telling them that is a crap they do it. Yeah. Their own businessmen.
It's a disturbing thing that's happening, Sherrod. And point to note again, if we were not in Parliament, we would not have been able to uncover the plans for this regional joint support team.
Exactly.
Again, I have to agree with what Khemraj is saying. And you know what is so sad about the state of our politics is that you can literally see and sense, Sherrod, the shift in terms of safety and how people feel safe in this country from August 22nd to 2020 to now. So you can feel it. It is as if a different spirit has come over the country. There is just a bent people who generally between 2015 and 2020, you would see people making efforts to observe the law and to uphold the rule of law. There just seems to be total chaos and anarchy. And what people do not understand is the reason we are sounding this alarm is because when you understand how societies evolve, you see where we are going.
That's
And I
right.
keep making the point that when the country destabilizes to a particular point, those in government will extract their families to safety while they continue to govern here and to rob and plunder and pillage the treasury. Because this is what they are about. The PPP is not interested in running Guyana for the benefit of all Guyanese. And that has to be made abundantly clear. And
Yeah.
so, unless we, as an entire population, take stock of where we are, too late shall be the cry. You
Yeah.
are seeing lawlessness abounding in every aspect of governance in this country, Sheridan Khemraj. And
That's true.
we have to begin
Yeah.
to speak up on it. It
And
is as if, it's impunity. You got a minister shooting a gun, you got one with a gun tucking his waist. It is as if we have descended into the banal and
yeah.
it is mind-boggling to me. And
Yeah.
what people do not understand is that outside of your political persuasion locally, Guyana is being looked at on the world stage,
Yeah.
and people are not blind, people are seeing. And we have fallen significantly in the esteem of people. You have a president who cannot read from a prepared speech. This is what we have fallen to as a
Yeah.
Well,
country.
he is not the
This is where
president,
we
you know.
are. Well, man, look, you're
He
reading
am
the
the
speech as the
president, is
president,
Jack. There's the
Cameron.
president.
There you I understand.
Manzo,
But
and on
Yeah.
that note,
these are things that we have to be mindful of, Sherrod. And this is why we will continue to speak up. Because when the consequences that we are warning about come around, people will say that they were people who stood up and said, we did not
yeah.
stay silent. We told you this is what would have happened.
And Amanza, those consequences are with us. We saw a young man who is of no consequence, really, and truly, murder a young woman in Linden, bury her in a shallow grave. He has disappeared off the radar of the police force and the GDF. We saw a woman bite a policeman with our own eyes and is yet to be charged because she has an affiliation to the government. We see so many crimes go unsolved. And we saw a difference, as you rightly said, Amanza, under the APNU AFC government. We didn't see one tear gas fire in 5 years. Can you imagine that? I'm thinking back to Success and those squatters there. We didn't see a pellet gun fire in 5 years. We didn't see a water cannon drive around the city in 5 years.
And
And
you remember
people
at
take that
Pegasus,
good life for granted. Go right
when they
ahead,
were
Kevin.
when they were protesting at Pegasus and all of that,
Yes.
the PPP, and they were shaking up the minister, I think Nicolette Henry's car, and all of that. I still asked the police, and a lot of criticism came my way. Um, Please do not retaliate, back off. And I really took a very different approach to policing. I did not want the civilians to ever feel that they must not have a right to protest, and also policemen to bully, because it is easy. You could instruct the police, will take care of them, like what Clement Rohi had done in relation to the Mackenzie tree, and then tell people to fire gunshots at, and people died and so on. Not me, because you want the policemen to be respected, and also when those people would have gone home, they would have, conscientiously indicate to themselves that, at least the police didn't do me anything. We didn't lock up nobody. We didn't do this and all that. But they want all manner of things for this police force to do unto
Yeah.
us. And that is
Yeah.
why they get a whole set of opposition people, they get a whole set of other people and so on arrested. Our own
Yeah.
David Patterson on frivolous charges. You know, and up to now they can't even start the bloody trial.
Yeah.
5 times already the matter call, and they can't even start the trial because all are manufactured. You know, and it is so wicked on the part of the police now when they're doing what they're doing. I have some severe criticism of what I see happening inside of that police force now. But I
Yeah.
understand that they're being instructed, and it would seem that the control freakism of the PPP and its leader, the Bar Jagdeo, is now kind of shifting off onto the ministers, especially Minister Ben. He feels that he can go and do operational matters. I have seen him on several occasions when they have fires. He asking the fire chief and all of them are instructing them how to put fires, you know, out, extinguish fires. I really can't understand it.
Yeah.
And that is what is going to happen with the police force because he will feel that he got the power. He named minister and he could talk about operational matters and instruct them how to do that. You got to do policy arrangements. You know,
Yeah.
tell the police to be professional. Don't interfere politically with the performance of the policemen. But we are going to have all of these things, and it is going to be a dire Guyana that we're going to end up with.
You
MP
know,
Walton,
I want to say this. I think there has to come a point in our history where we decide that we are not going to engage in the eye for an eye politics.
That's right.
Lest we all end up blind men in our own country and unable to see who the real enemy is. People talk about what is happening in Haiti, and you see the photographs of what Haiti has been going through for years.
That's right.
The tongue lies almost in ruins. It's one issue after another after another. And this is what we are trying to save Guyana from descending
Exactly.
into.
yeah,
This is what we are trying to, you see, tear gas being hurled in the street and all of that. And I am saying that I believe that there are Guyanese strong enough in numbers to say that no, we do not want this. In the police force, there have to be policemen and women who are strong enough to stand up and say, no, we will not carry out unlawful instructions
Instructions, right.
because they have no legal obligation to carry out unlawful instruction. We as Guyanese have to find that strength in ourselves to stand up. This is what Hitler did in Germany, Sheridan Khemraj. This type of division and this type of when you see you criticize something, they personally attack you and engage in all kind of issues. And they desensitize people to the seriousness of what is happening. They are dehumanizing people. When you dehumanize a person, you no longer have to contend with the consequences of doing whatever you want to them because you do not see them as human anymore. This is sinister. And Guyanese have to wake up. Guyanese have to wake up because they must understand that when the consequences come, it is not only the APNU AFC supporters will feel it, but the PPC supporters will feel it. And we know for a fact they are already feeling it, Sherrod,
yeah,
because we
Oh
go
yeah,
around this country and they just
yeah,
come up to you quietly and say, oh, you know,
yeah.
are
That's
we
right.
not agree with what is happening? They say it to us, but
That's
it is
correct.
time that they
yeah,
understand that they must
yeah,
find their voices
yeah,
and speak up about
yeah,
these atrocities
yeah,
because the extent that the APNU supporters are unsafe, you are unsafe.
That's correct.
yeah,
And that
And
is what is important for
yes,
them
and the
to understand.
resentment they
When
create.
exactly, because you create a group of people with nothing to lose and you have everything to lose. Where are we heading? We have
Exactly.
to stem this madness. It is madness and we have to stop it.
and we've only spoken about two sectors. We've only spoken about the health sector and the security sector. A farmer called me today from Region 2. He
Oh
said
yeah,
that they're out of
urea.
fertilizers. He said there's a period where the plants, the crop need the fertilizer. He said nobody's telling them anything. They said they don't have any fertilizer. So much that is going wrong. Amanza, it's you characterize it well. It seems that we have taken this nosedive into decadence and decay since the 2nd of August. That was unheard of. Somebody said to me from the diaspora, we were on a growth trajectory, not just economically, but in so many aspects of our lives. And we seem
People
to
were
again
coming
take no
home.
time. Yeah,
People were coming home from the diaspora, Sherrod.
That's
People
correct.
were coming home to bring their much needed skills to develop this country. You can't talk to people about coming home now. The
No.
only ones who want to come home are those who appreciate corrupt business and don't mind getting into corrupt business and so on. And you know, people tell you, hey, doing business with them is easy because you could just pass a little thing and you get through.
a little frick.
But is that the society that we want? Is that the society that we want? I think not. And so, Sharon, it is getting to a point where, my people, if we do not change course,
Yeah.
it's gonna get difficult.
Yeah,
And because they're taking all their efforts and all their muscles into doing this dismantling of democracy, as I have been saying, that is why they're not putting their best foot forward, like say in Essequibo, to ensure that the people there get their urea and the triple that those are two fertilizers for the rice farmers. And Essequibo, luckily, wasn't so badly affected on the coast where the rice growing areas are. We had that affecting region 5 and 6 and so on, Blackbush and so on. So the next crop requires at least an expenditure of effort in regard to what will make sure that Essequibo, which is a big producer of rice for Guyana, to ensure that they get their capacity and optimum capacity.
yeah.
No, they got no urea, and I understand that the farmers are all angry with them.
Very
And that is
angry.
what I got the call too from
Very angry.
Essequibo, that they're angry, and if they don't get the urea in time, the rice crop will not give the best output that it generally will give if it started 8 bags or 40 bags per acre.
Mhm.
It will not. It will be stunted growth and a whole lot of other negatives that will follow it. And so I am urging that this government too, especially Zulfikar in this case, before we bring another no confidence motion against him, he better get this act right there
Very
in
well.
Essequibo. Because this region 5 and region 6, the whole thing almost, you're going to lose a second crop. So as much as you can make from Essequibo, make sure that the people get urea. And I'm asking the government this afternoon, make sure that those people get their urea up there. Send a couple boatloads.
Yeah.
And so that we could get some a good rice crop, at least in that area, that is not so badly flooded out.
Sharon, there is one other
Man.
point as we're talking about agriculture and food. Something was happening over the last few weeks, and you would see memes on Facebook where people were trading an allion for shallot and so on. And we said it in jest, but Sharon, it is a serious and a real and present danger with climate change. Something is happening. Our rivers are higher than they have ever been. We're experiencing flooding, 1,600 feet above sea level in some cases. Rivers are overflowing their banks. These are things that have to be taken seriously. The PPP does not intend to tackle issues of climate change and issues of food security. These are real and present challenges that will present themselves in another year or two, and we are so caught up in just basic politics that we cannot even spend time to forecast and to plan. Think it's funny trading a bundle of shallot for an alien? There may come a time unless you
Sounds like
plan
Venezuela.
properly. Food, things like toilet paper and all of these things, food will become an issue. We need to start looking at how do we diversify agricultural methods
That's right.
so that when the place is flooded, your food is planted above ground. Jared, we, the people, have to keep this government
Yeah.
on
Yeah.
their toes,
Yeah.
because we have to deal with these emerging threats. This talk
Yeah.
about becoming the breadbasket and the food basin of the Caribbean is empty talk. And your
Yeah.
farmers don't have urea. Your
Yeah.
farmers don't have
Yeah.
urea.
Yeah.
Look,
And we don't make
And Khemraj,
1.5 we don't make 1.5 billion dollars losses with the sugar, when we were telling them take those lands and plant other crops.
yeah.
They won't say us and them want to put back sugar. And because of the flooding, the whole region 5 and 6 sugar big time losses already. So it's another black hole we're gonna spin billions of dollars into.
Yeah.
And we have to, take into consideration all these considerations of climate change and so on.
Yeah.
And it is so important what Amanza is saying, food security. And by the way, talking about what was causing the climate change and all of this nastiness was that aspect of what we wanted as a motion by virtue of what was the
the
motion?
flaring, on
Flaring
flaring.
We wanted
Yes.
to bring in all of that. Climate change and the environmental hazards of flaring and all
Yeah.
that. It was blocked. So we might have to do a no confidence in relation to Vikram Bharat so that we can get all of these things spoken about.
And then the speaker, Khemraj and Manza, I thought, and maybe this is a discussion for another time, I thought with such a national crisis, the president installed as he is, called the flooding a national disaster. The Minister of Agriculture said it is worse than 2015, the 2005 flooding and all of that. I thought we'd be able to sit down as a government, installed as they are, and an opposition, and do something big, conceptualize something big for this country in moving forward. But as you said, Amanza, it is so basic. Final thoughts on these motions and a word on this bizarre motion that the government is putting on the table against the opposition leader. Final thoughts.
Go, Amanza.
I think I want to say to our people, notwithstanding, we know that we have the disadvantage numerically, we have the advantage in that it provides us an opportunity to expose, which is the role of the opposition, and to put on record the blind leadership that the PPPC is providing to us. On the issue of the motion against the leader of the opposition, I dismiss it for what it is, a joke. But it just shows to me, Sharon, the depths to which the PPPC are willing to go to kick the Constitution around like a football.
That's right.
These things may be funny now, but you have to understand that they have lasting implications. That if not you have to face those implications, your children will have to face it. So we as Guyanese have to decide now in this moment what Guyana we are bequeathing to our children. Those are my closing thoughts, Sharon.
I love how Khemraj describes the work of the opposition to expose, to oppose, and even to depose.
Absolutely.
By the way, that's not necessarily Ramjattan. I am quoting from a very great Prime Minister of England, I think. It was Churchill that made that statement of when you're in opposition, what you must do, or some famous philosopher out of England.
I think he got it from our skin May, actually.
It's stated there.
Yeah.
Well, I want to close by stating that motion against Joe Harmon reflects and reveals the intellectual laziness of the PPP.
Pim.
Yes, they are intellectually lazy. They ain't got no blasted thing for do, and they want to go and bring, because we brought that which is intellectually robust. That is the motion against the two sectors, as a matter of fact, more than the ministers, in my opinion. Because you're not going to get to knock off the ministers, but you will get a robust debate on how badly those two sectors, health and security, public security, are being run and managed and governed. And it is important then that the people out there understand that we are smart people. We are intellectually robust. We are not lazy. And please be guided by a lot of the things that we are doing, because indeed it will bring out so much dirt on the government. And we are also going to let people understand what we are doing there in Parliament, because it's Parliament that we have to do our opposing and exposing and deposing. Thank you very much.
Fantastic, guys. Thank you for a very robust discussion this evening. Thanks. Thank you, guys.
Take care.
Great. And folks, there you have it. MP Khemraj Ramjattan and MP Walton-Desir, Amanza Walton-Desir, walking us through some of the issues, just a tip of the iceberg on these no confidence motion. I want to thank so many of you who stayed with us over time this evening to ensure that we get a conclusion, at least to this discussion here this evening. And we are tremendously grateful that you joined us on In the Ring Flashback this Friday evening. Guys, continue to social distance, wear your mask and sanitize. And even before we go, and as we go, I want to give a word from one of our sponsors. And guys, you could be a sponsor as well to this program to keep us going in so many ways through your donations and also through your advertising. A word from our sponsors as we go.
Planning to buy or build your dream home or even get that dream vehicle? Are you a member of the Guyana Public Service Cooperative Credit Union? Well, the wait is over. They're affording their members the opportunity to secure residential mortgages up to $50 million, starting at a matchless interest of 3.5% per annum, and vehicle loans up to $5 million at 1% of the reducing balance. Don't be stuck in that waiting position. Call them on telephone numbers 225-7876, visit their website at MyGPSCCU or their Facebook page at the Guyana Public Service Cooperative Credit Union Limited. Your wait is over.
Social distance, sanitize, wear your mask, practice all the other COVID-19 protocols that are there for your health, your safety, that of your friends and your loved ones. Do stay safe. And guys, unless we have something great bringing us back on air over the weekend in the form of In the Ring, we're going to see you guys on Monday evening. Do stay safe. Tomorrow at 12, we have The Whip. See you guys then. Until then, from In the Ring, from all of our editors and operators and social media specialists, content specialists, guys, we want to thank you for joining us. Do stay safe. Have a great weekend.